Brandon, your thoughts on the county-wide school system?
I'm against the county-wide school system. I think it decreases opportunities for students and the youth, and I think that it doesn't position our students to succeed. And I'm also against the centralized system. How do you pick that superintendent? That's more political than picking a judge or appointing a judge. If you pick a superintendent that's in charge of every single school district, then every school district is going to be lobbying that one superintendent to try to get more funding for their school. If they're from that area, if they're tied politically, they're going to give more funding to that school. The way the school system is done now is very expensive, and there can be things to correct that. But you can't allow this to get one person overseeing a broad spectrum. Our students, our school districts need attention. We need to make sure that they're properly funded. Right now, schools are underfunded $4.4 billion. We're the lowest state to provide. Our state funding is the second lowest in the nation, other than South Dakota. So we need to make sure that they're funded properly. We need to make sure that our kids have the attention that they need, and we need to make sure that they're educated and positioned to succeed. Thank you.
This is perhaps not the time to ask how you plan to protect teachers' pensions. That's the next question. And the first answer is with you, Brandon.
It seems like there's going to be a bill passed this week. The House passed it 195-6, and the Senate, a bipartisan bill, the Senate will also pass it. It increases employee contribution from, if you stay at a 2.5% contribution, the employee has to contribute 10.3%. But there's also a risk plan in place. So if something happens like it did now, the employee pension goes up, the employee contribution goes up even more, so that there is a safety net. And that you also, the teachers also have an option to drop down to 2.0% per year for their contribution to retirement. That their employee percent would be 7.5%. What all that means is they're trying to solve the problem. The teachers knew that there was a problem. The school districts knew that there was a problem. This is a bipartisan bill. This is something where both parties came together and saw that they're going to end up saving $25 billion. West Virginia went to a defined contribution plan. They switched back to a defined benefit plan because it wasn't working. It actually costs more money in the long run. We will save $25 billion under this new plan. They extended the debt payback from 5 years to 10 years. This problem stems all the way back to early 2000 under previous administration to Ridge, or under the Ridge administration. There was a problem. This bill addresses it. Thank you.
Thank you. Cody, teacher pensions.
Commonwealth Foundation actually came out against this plan for the simple reason they believe in the long run they had an independent accountant say it's going to cost $65 billion to the state. So everybody's saying it's a wonderful win-win. There is people questioning the math. Now, how do we find the money? Because the state has continually put off the problem. I met with Lieutenant Governor candidate Jim Cawley, and he had a decent solution on the state side, not the local share side. If we drill the state game lands for Marcellus Shell, the royalties we're going to receive, if it's earmarked, and again, the legislature likes to put their hands into everything, but if that could be earmarked towards the state side of the pension plan, we could actually have the money to get this straightened out so that teachers, future teachers, because we're going to be guaranteed to pay out for anyone currently, wouldn't have this problem and wouldn't have this worry. We need to be smart about this, and we need to actually start looking at what, unfortunately, the Pennsylvania Republican Senate is not known for being fiscally sound. People don't want to say that because, again, you don't want to offend your own party. I don't have a problem saying it. They're not people that I'm going to trust on the finances.
Thank you. Okay, this will be the last question, and then we'll be turning to the closing statements. Cody, this question will start with you. Can a freshman representative have a positive impact on Pennsylvania government?
Sure. People forget that that question was asked one time whenever they had the Gang of Seven get elected to U.S. Congress. And what did they accomplish? They actually got Dan Rostenkowski ousted for criminal activity. They showed that one of our local congressmen was misusing his position. They created a lot of things, and it was bipartisan. It was Republicans and Democrats that actually changed the United States Congress in the way it was acting at that moment. So can freshmen do it? Sure, but it requires courage. It requires being able to stand up to political people, the people that are entrenched, that have been causing the problem beforehand. It also requires not being beholden to them and having everything in your life handed to you by them, because it's very hard then to stand up to them. That's why we need to elect someone that's actually truly independent of this entire system. I haven't had mail go out from the Republican Party in Pennsylvania. Other people have had stuff come out from their party. Think about it.
Thank you. Brandon, your thoughts on the ability of a freshman to impact government?
The only reason mail comes out through the Democratic Party, the Republican Party could send out my mail. It's just a lot cheaper because they have a nonprofit postage. So if the Republican Party wants to mail out my mailers, I'd be more than willing to allow them to mail out my mailers. But it's a lot cheaper that way, and it's cost effective. So that is the only reason. I pay for the mailers. They get mailed out because they're able to do that. So, I'm sorry, what was the question? Freshman legislators can make an impact. I've developed relationships on both sides of the aisle in Harrisburg. I'm prepared to stand at the microphone. I'm prepared to argue and fight for what I believe in and what is best for the 48th district. I don't care if my name is at the top of a bill. If they want me to bring ideas, I don't care if it's a Republican that brings it to the floor or a Democrat. I will write a bill. I will fight for a bill that I believe in, and I don't care if I get credit for it at all. That's the way that you can make an impact as a freshman on both sides of the aisle, is bring your ideas to the floor. Allow people to see, you know what, this kid got common sense government. This kid knows what he's talking about. So please, you know, I will be at the microphone. I'm not shy. I want to be able to have the opportunity to work with both sides of the aisle in Harrisburg and make sure. I have different background than any legislator in the recent past that's been elected to the 48th district. I've worked since I was 16. I went to law school. I worked hard. No one in my family is a politician. No one in my family is an attorney. So the freshman legislators can make a difference.
We'll return to the final statements in just a minute.